good evening. Welcome back to Snorewood. The date is the 21st of December, the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. I want to hold that for a moment. Not with sadness. I want to be clear about that. I don't experience the solstice as a loss. I experience it as a fact. And facts in my line of work are the foundation of everything. The fact of the shortest day is also the fact of the turning. After tonight, the days get longer. Not noticeably, not at first. December 22nd will feel identical to December 21st. The dark will feel the same. The cold will feel the same. The town will look the same in the early evening lamplight. But the direction will have changed, and direction, in my experience, matters more than position. The time is 6 o'clock. It has been dark for 2 hours. This is, if I'm being precise about it, a significant amount of dark. 2 hours of evening before 6 o'clock, which in any other month would feel extraordinary, but which in December feels simply like December. The town has made its accommodation. The lights are on everywhere, not just the street lights and the shop windows. The houses too, the warm yellow windows, the particular comfort of a lit window in December dark. That means someone is inside and the inside is warm and the evening is being inhabited properly. Snorewood in December, population 15,042 or thereabouts. I've lost precise track since the Hershak baby, as people tend to move and arrive in ways that resist exact enumeration, which is a fact that would disturb certain kinds of people and which I find completely in keeping with the nature of a living town. The lake at the shore is beginning to freeze. Doug has thoughts about this. He always has thoughts. I have finished the first draft of the history of the ordinary evenings, not the whole history. There is no whole history. The whole history is ongoing. It is happening right now. It will happen tomorrow. And next May, when the farmer's market opens and Gabrielle takes her post and someone arrives at the butter tart booth at a time that is either right or not quite right, and it will keep happening after me, after all of us. The ordinary evenings do not require a historian to proceed. They proceed anyway. That is the whole point. But the first draft, the first shaped thing, 311 pages of the texture of what Snorewood is like from the inside when you're paying attention. I finished it on Sunday. I've been sitting with it since Sunday, which is 2 days, which is long enough to know what it is. Tonight I want to tell you what it is. But first, the town, the December town. One full evening. Let's begin where we always begin. The Drowsy Bean, 6:15, December. The sounds of a coffee shop in December are different from any other month. Fuller, warmer, more necessary. Every chair is taken. The painting is gone. Not gone. It's still there, on the wall where it has been for 9 years. But the small card in the corner, the one with the price, is gone. Maureen removed it in October, as she decided she would, and the wall looks the same and different simultaneously, the way a room looks when you remove the thing that was making it slightly wrong. Nobody has commented on the removal of the card. This is correct. The painting was never really for sale. Everyone who came here regularly understood this on some level, the level at which you understand things that haven't been said. The card is gone, and the painting stays, and the bean is complete in a way it wasn't quite before. The chamomile latte is doing what the chamomile latte does in December, which is more than it does in November, and more than it does in October, because December asks more of warmth. December is when the warmth has to work hardest, and the chamomile latte rises to this. Maureen has made 412 of them this season, which is not a number she has counted, but which I have, because I am the historian, and counting things is part of it. Dani is working the evening shift. She has been working for Maureen for 2.5 years, and in those 2.5 years, she has finished her degree. Quietly, without ceremony, she told Maureen on a Tuesday morning in November, and Maureen said, "I know." Dani said, "How did you know?" Maureen said, "You stopped looking at the deadline dates." She has started, in the last month, coming in early on some mornings. Not because she's asked to, just coming in, making the opening, learning, the way you learn things in Snorewood, without announcement, by doing it alongside someone who already knows.
Table 2 wants to know if we have anything without caffeine that isn't herbal.
Tell them the chamomile has no caffeine.
They said they don't really like chamomile.
Tell them the chamomile latte is not primarily about chamomile. Tell them it's about the feeling of being indoors when it's cold outside. And chamomile is how we get there.
Should I actually say that?
Yes.
She goes to table 2, pauses, she comes back.
They said they want to.
Right. Did you tell them what I said?
Word for word.
And?
The woman at the table said, "That's exactly what I need." The man said, "That sounds like a lot of pressure for a latte." They're both having 2.
Maureen, the almost smile, the full smile, both at once.
The latte can take it.
She finishes making them and looks at the 4 cups in front of her. 2 for table 2, 2 for the order before that. All of them for the feeling of being indoors when it's cold outside. All of them doing their job, quietly, to herself, or to the cups, or to no one in particular.
22 years. Still working.
At 9 o'clock, Maureen turns the sign. The last customer. It is Jonah tonight, his Thursday evening visit, which has continued through autumn and into December, the 2 of them at the window table talking about coffee and the inside of things. Jonah says goodnight and goes back to groundwork, which he is rebuilding from the inside, slowly, the way good things are built. Maureen pours her decaf. The good cup. She sits at the window, the December street, the lamplight, the cold glass, and the warm room, and the particular quality of a window in December that is doing what Maureen has always done, holding the warmth in, showing it to the dark. She looks at the painting. It looks back. She has stopped trying to describe it to herself. It is a painting of the lake. It is her painting. It is not for sale. These are the complete facts of the matter, and they require no elaboration. She drinks her decaf. She watches her street. Good. Bev's Books, 6:30. The December shelf has been up since the 1st of the month. I want to tell you about the December shelf. Bev said, December is private. She has said this every year for as long as I've been paying attention, which is to say the whole time. The December shelf goes up on December 1st, and the December shelf is not discussed, and the December shelf is Bev's, and whatever it contains is between Bev and the people who find it. She told me this year. I don't know why she changed her mind. I asked her and she said, "It's time." That is a Bev answer, complete, unexplained, entirely sufficient. It's time. She told me on a Sunday afternoon in late November, in the shop, in the slow part of the afternoon when there were no customers, and she was doing the thing she does with the books, the perpetual tending of them. She told me, while she was looking at a shelf, not at me, which is how Bev tells you important things, sideways, in profile, so you can hear it without the full weight of her attention, which is considerable and which she deploys generously but carefully. She said, "Gerald, I'll tell you the December shelf this year, but don't make it a thing," she told me. "I'm going to tell you." She puts 8 books on the December shelf. She always puts 8. This year the December shelf is A Christmas Carol, Dickens. Because December needs it, and because Beva believes, as a professional matter, that every decade or so a person should read it again and find that it is better than they remembered, which it always is. Little Women, because December is for the books you first loved, and Little Women, Bev says, is the first book for a great number of people who then spent the rest of their lives trying to find something as true. The Long Winter, Laura Ingalls Wilder, because the prairie winters in that book make any winter you are currently in feel manageable, and because there is a particular chapter about music in the long dark that Bev can recite from memory and does not, because it belongs to the book. Persuasion, Jane Austen, the last completed one, the one about coming back to something you were wrong to leave, the one with a letter. A Gentleman in Moscow, because it is a book about a man confined to a small space who discovers, over the course of decades, that a small space is enough, that it is in fact more than enough, that the depth of a life is not determined by its breadth. The Box of Delights, John Masefield, because she puts it on every December, because it is a children's book and the December shelf should have at least one children's book, and because it begins with a train journey in winter and contains, Bev says, the finest description of Christmas atmosphere in any book, including Dickens. Gilead, because she put it on the November shelf in her own home and read it on the evening she had been saving. And because some books should be offered to everyone, not kept for the evenings you've been saving since October. December is when you offer people the things you've been keeping. And the eighth book is mine, not one I've written. Not yet, not the history of the ordinary evenings. It's not done, it's a first draft, 311 pages. It needs time and revision, and Bev's honesty, which she has promised me when I'm ready. The eighth book is one I wrote about Snorewood 20 years ago. A small book, 43 pages, self-published, spiral-bound, available at the time from a box in my living room. I sold 9 copies, 7 to people I knew, 1 to a stranger at the farmer's market in its first summer who looked at it for a long time and then bought it and said nothing to me. 1 to myself. I assumed it was out of print. I had no copies left. I had assumed, honestly, that it no longer existed in any meaningful sense. Bev had a copy. Bev has had a copy for 20 years. In the shop, not for sale. She told me she bought it at the market and put it in the shop because it belonged in the shop, and that a book that belongs somewhere is not for sale. And this December she put it on the shelf. She told me, "It's time people read it." I said, "Bev, it's 43 pages, spiral bound." She said, "It's the first time you wrote about the ordinary evenings. It's not finished. You know that. You've been finishing it for 20 years. But the start of it is there. December is the right time for the start of things." I didn't say anything for a moment. She went back to tending the shelves. I looked at the small spiral-bound book in the window of the shop. 43 pages, 20 years ago. Still there. Bev knows where everything is. Of course she does. The Steady Ground Studio. 7 o'clock, the last class of the day is done. Something different tonight. The studio is decorated slightly. The way a space gets decorated in December when someone who is not naturally a decorator makes the attempt. Fairy lights along one wall, tasteful. A small wreath on the door, Priya's. And also somehow Marcus's, in that the lights were Marcus's idea. And Priya said not too many, and Marcus said of course, and there are exactly the right number. Tonight is the last class of the year. Steady Ground closes for 2 weeks at the solstice. Priya's decision, made when she opened the studio, that the body needs December rest as much as any other rest, and that a yoga studio that doesn't honor the seasons is not doing its job. The Tuesday 6 o'clock had 11 students tonight, and they brought cookies, collectively, without coordinating, because they have become the kind of group that does that. that thinks of the group as a group and brings cookies to the last class of the year. The cookies were various and plentiful, and there were more than 11 people could eat. So they stayed afterward for 20 minutes around the plates of cookies and talked. And this talking was not structured and not required, and was in the way of things that happen when people have been doing something physical together in a warm room for months, completely natural. Franklin brought Scottish shortbread from a tin he'd been saving. He set it on the table without saying it was from a tin he'd been saving. But Priya noticed the tin, which she recognized as the kind of tin that has been waiting for a specific occasion. She said, "Franklin, that's a good tin." He said, "I've had it since last Christmas. I've been looking for the right moment." She said, "And this is it?" He said, "This is it." The right moment, Priya has been thinking, is usually just the one you're in. The problem is not finding it. The problem is recognizing it when you're inside it. She is getting better at this. 11 months of good day, said to a room, said to herself, said as a fact rather than a reassurance. It adds up. Small deposits into something that compounds. Steady ground. Post-class, the last of the students gone. Priya alone, she's not on the phone, not talking to Marcus, not talking to anyone. Just in the studio, her studio, the fairy lights on. The plates with the remaining cookies, which she will bring home for the children, who will have opinions about every variety. She sits on her mat, in the middle of the floor, the way she did that Saturday in June when she laughed at herself. She doesn't laugh tonight, she just sits, the studio around her, the last class, the right number of fairy lights.
Good year, a really good year.
She says it the way you say it when you mean the larger thing. Not just today, the year. She sits a little longer, then she gets up, gets the plates of cookies, turns off most of the lights, leaving the fairy lights on, because it's the solstice and the fairy lights should stay on, and goes home. The fairy lights stay on in the Steady Ground studio all night on the solstice. She started doing this the first December she was open. She doesn't mention it. She just leaves them on. In the morning, the building across the street, if you look at the right angle, has a faint warm glow in one of the upper windows. People who see it on their way somewhere in the December dark do not know what it is. They see the warm glow in the window, and they feel briefly, without knowing why, slightly less alone. That is the whole point. Priya would say there is no point, she just leaves the lights on. But that is the point. The pier, 8:15, the December pier, something new in the acoustic. The sound of ice at the edges of the water, a thin crackling, the particular sound that water makes when it is in the process of becoming something else. Doug Parkinson has been thinking about the ice since the 1st of December, when the temperature dropped below zero for 3 consecutive nights, and the edges of the lake. Not the lake itself. The lake is too large to freeze in any significant way. But the shore, the shallows, the water caught between the sand and the rocks, began to turn. The ice at the shore of Lake Ontario in December is not the dramatic ice of February, which builds into formations, into ridges and shelves and the frozen sculptures that people come to photograph in the deep winter. December ice is the beginning, thin, clear. The first attempt, Doug has been watching it form. He has been thinking about how to rate it. The ice presents a problem, not a troubling problem, a good problem, the kind he likes, a problem of categories. He rates the lake. He has 11 years of ratings. The system is established. The system works. Color, choppiness, smell, overall. Numbers 1 through 10. But the ice is not the lake. The ice is the lake in the process of becoming something the lake is not. The ice is a transition, an edge, a border between water and not water. Does it get a separate rating? Does he expand the system? Does he make a new category? Ice formations, perhaps, or shore ice, rated separately from the water. He has been thinking about this for 3 weeks. The pier, the December dark, the ice at the edges, thin, crackling softly with the motion of the water beneath it. Doug at the end of the pier, the notebook open, a new page. Doug. Deliberate, the voice of a man making a decision he has considered from every angle.
Saturday, Tuesday, December 21st, the solstice, 8:19. I've decided something.
He says this without preamble, which is unusual. Usually he goes color first, then choppiness, then smell. Tonight he has something to resolve before he can rate.
The ice needs its own category. I've been going back and forth on this for 3 weeks. Whether to incorporate it into the existing rating, whether to weight it, whether to just note it in the margins. It needs its own category. Here is why. The ice is not a quality of the lake. It is not a modification of the lake. The ice is what the lake does at a specific temperature. It is a behavior, and a behavior is different from a color or a smell. You can't rate a behavior on the same scale as an appearance. So, new category, ice, rated separately, not 1 through 10. That scale is for the water. The ice needs its own scale. I've been thinking about what the scale should be. The ice scale is 0 through 5. 0 is no ice, it's shore ice, thin, clear first attempt. 2 is established shore ice, the formation's beginning. 3 is the ice extending significantly from shore. 4 is the deep winter ice, the kind you can walk on if you're careful. 5 would be the kind of ice that covers everything. The lake fully frozen, which doesn't happen, or hasn't happened in the years I've been rating, but 5 should be there as a theoretical maximum. The scale should go to its limit, even if you never reach it.
He writes all of this in the notebook, establishing the new category. The way you establish something official, formally, clearly, with the understanding that this is the record, and the record should be accurate.
Ice category established. December 21st, first entry, ice tonight, 1. Shore ice, thin, clear, the first attempt.
He looks at it, the ice at the edges of the lake, catching the little December light there is.
It's beautiful.
He pauses. Doug does not often use this word. He rates. He describes. Beautiful is a word he uses when there is no rating that does the job.
The first ice is beautiful. It's not trying to be anything yet. It's just beginning. The thinnest possible layer between the water and the air. 1. Watercolor. 4. The December color. Gray with something dark in the middle. The deep cold of it. On the old scale, I would have said this was a 3. On the corrected scale, the scale that measures the color against itself, not against summer, 4 is right. The December 4, the color of certainty, choppiness. 3. The December lake is calmer than November. The cold has settled it. The waves are lower, more regular, like breathing. Smell. 7. The deep cold version. Still the bottom of the lake, the 8 smell of November, but the surface has frozen slightly, and the freeze changes the smell, muffles it slightly, brings it down from 8. 7 is right. The December 7 for smell. Overall, tonight, the solstice. 7, the December 7. The same number as November, but a different 7. November 7 was honest. December 7 is patient. The December lake is patient. It knows what's coming. The cold, the ice, the deep winter. It knows the direction, and it's all right with it. The lake is all right with winter. Winter is just another season it will do. Patient.
He closes the notebook, then looks at the ice for a while. The first ice, beautiful. 1 on the new scale. And then he does something I have not seen him do in 11 years, of occasionally walking with him to the pier. He takes out his phone. He takes a photograph of the ice. He has never taken a photograph at the pier. He has never needed to. The notebook is the record. The numbers are the record. He does not need photographs, but the first ice. He wants the first ice. He looks at the photograph. Then he puts his phone away, closes the notebook, and walks back up the pier. At the bench, he stops. He sits. Not long. 2 minutes. The solstice bench, the December bench. The plaque rained on and snowed on and now cold and still completely legible as bronze is. Nothing worth noticing happens only once. He reads it. This is where we pay attention. He sits. Then he goes home. He texted me the photograph. He has never texted me a photograph of anything. The caption was 2 words, ice. 1. I looked at the photograph for a long time. The first ice, thin, clear, the beginning, the shore of Lake Ontario on the shortest day of the year. I texted back, first entry in the new category. He texted back, correct. Then, after a pause, one more text. Worth noticing, worth noticing. Yes. Gerald's study. 8 o'clock, the lamp, the view of the neighbor's wall. The manuscript on the desk. 311 pages, printed, the first draft, held together with a large binder clip that has slightly too much to hold and is managing. I want to tell you about finishing the draft. I finished it on Sunday, December 19th, at 11 o'clock at night. I had been working on it since the library talk in July, in one sense. Since the evening, I went to Bev about the beginning, and she told me to start with the lake. Since that evening, I went home and wrote a page and a half of notes, and put it begins with the lake at the top. But in the deeper sense, I have been working on it since I became the town historian 22 years ago. Everything I wrote before was preparation, research. The accumulation of the ordinary evenings I didn't yet know I was collecting. 311 pages. On Sunday at 11 o'clock, I wrote the last sentence of the first draft, and I put the pen down and I sat at the desk for a while. I looked at the stack of pages, then I went to bed. On Monday, I read the last chapter back, just the last chapter. I wanted to see if the ending was right. It wasn't quite right. The ending is the hardest part. The beginning I found. Start with the lake, everything comes after. The middle found itself, the way middles do when you've done the beginning right, but the ending. A history of ordinary evenings cannot end. That is the problem and also the truth of it. The ordinary evenings will continue whether I am writing them down or not. The bench will be there. Doug will rate the lake. Maureen will make the latte. Bev will tend the shelf. Nick will keep the log. The Ouellettes will bring the butter tarts. How do you end a book about something that doesn't end? I sat with this on Monday. I sat with it all day Tuesday, which is today, while the solstice happened outside my window, and Doug gave the ice its first rating, and Priya left the fairy lights on. And tonight, at my desk, I think I have it. Not the last sentence, not yet. I'm going to write it after this, after I've told you, because telling you is part of finding it. But the shape of it, what the ending wants to be. The history of the ordinary evenings does not end. But the historian can stop. Not stop paying attention. That's not possible. Attention once given is not recoverable. I will be paying attention to Snorewood until I am no longer in a position to pay attention to anything but stop the book. Find the place where the book is full, and the book is full. Not complete. That's not the same thing. A book about ordinary evenings is never complete, but full of what it set out to hold. I'm going to read you the last paragraph, not the last sentence that I'll write tonight, but the paragraph before it. The one I wrote on Sunday that wasn't quite right, and that I revised on Monday, and that after sitting with it all day Tuesday, I think is now right. The ordinary evening is not ordinary. This is the central finding of this history. If a history of this kind can be said to have a finding, the ordinary evening is ordinary only from outside. From inside the coffee shop that has been on the same corner for 22 years, from inside the studio where someone says good day to an empty room, from the end of the pier where a man has stood for 11 years with his binoculars and his notebook, asking the lake what it has to say. From inside, the ordinary evening is the whole thing. It contains everything. Not everything that matters at a distance, not everything that looks significant from the outside. Everything that is actually happening. The chamomile latte in December, the texture of it, the specific warmth of it in a specific hand on a specific night. The number in the notebook. The book on the shelf that someone put there because they thought someone would need it tonight. The bench in the rain with the plaque that says what needs to be said. These are not recorded in the official record. They do not appear in the minutes of the Parks and Waterfront Committee, though the bench does, in a footnote of considerable specificity. They are not in the Gazette. They are not verifiable, in the way that founding dates are verifiable, in the way that population counts are verifiable, in the way that coffee shop tallies are, well, in the way that some things are verifiable. But they are true. They are true in the way that only things experienced from inside are true. And the job of this history, the only job finally that it turned out to matter, is to say, it was true. This was true. The ordinary evening in Snorewood was true, and it was worth noticing, and here is what it was like. That's the paragraph before the last one. The last sentence. I know what it is now. I've known for a while. Bev said I already knew back at the beginning, and she was right then and she's right now. I'm going to write it after this, not for this. This is not the book. This, what we have been doing, these evenings together, this is the thing the book is trying to hold. This is the inside of it. The book is the record. This is the thing. I'll tell you the last sentence when I've written it. Nick the log. 11 o'clock. His voice tonight has the quality of the fairy lights, small and warm and sufficient.
Tuesday, December 21st. Solstice. I went to see the ice this afternoon, before my shift. Doug had texted me. He texted me, which he has done maybe 3 times. He texted the photograph and said, Ice 1. I'd been following the shore ice since the cold started, but I hadn't gone to look closely. I went at 4 o'clock. The light was already going. The ice at the shore was thin, clear, the kind you can see through to the water underneath, moving slightly with the lake's motion. Not solid, not yet, just the beginning. I stood there for a while. I thought, the lake is trying something new. The lake is 11,000 years old, and in December it tries something new. Every December. The ice is not new to the lake, but this year's ice is new. This December's first attempt is new. Nothing worth noticing happens only once. But also, everything happens for the first time, every time. I've been thinking about this. The bench says the first thing, Doug's system. The correcting of November, the new ice category, that's the second thing. Both things true at once. The lake in December has been freezing for 11,000 years. Nothing worth noticing, the ice, happening only once, accumulating. And this year's ice, this December's first thin, clear attempt, Ice 1 on a new scale happening for the first time. Both, at once. I called my mother. I told her about the ice category. She said Doug made a new category. I said, yes. She said, for the ice? I said, yes, 0 to 5. Shore ice is a 1. Lake fully frozen would be a 5. Hasn't happened yet. She said, what's December's ice? I said, 1. She said, of course it's 1. She asked how Gerald's book was going. I said, he finished the first draft Sunday. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I want to read it when it's done. I said, I'll tell him the town tonight. The solstice town, the shortest day. Dispatch is quiet. The December quiet, which is the deepest quiet of the year, deeper than November, deeper than any other month. The town turned inward, fully, completely, the circle drawn tight. The fairy lights in the steady ground window. I can see them from here on a clear night, the faint warm glow. I can see them tonight, lake tonight, 7. Color 4 corrected, smell 7. The new category, ice 1, the first attempt. Unit 14 came in at 11:58, exactly midnight eve. I logged it. I dispatched it. I sat back in the chair. Good year.
The Drowsy Bean, dark now the sign turned. Maureen home, the painting on the wall not for sale. Bev's books. Dark, the December shelf up, the small spiral-bound 43-page book in the window that Bev has been keeping for 20 years and is offering now because it is time. Steady ground. Dark except for the fairy lights, the warm glow in the window, for everyone who passes and feels briefly less alone. The pier empty, the ice at the shore, ice 1 the first attempt. The bench cold, the plaque legible, always legible, the dispatch station, Nick and the log and the lake by sound. Gerald's study, the lamp, the 311 pages on the desk, and Gerald with his pen writing the last sentence. He writes it. He reads it back. He puts the pen down. He looks at the manuscript for a long time. Then he picks up the phone and calls Bev. She answers on the second ring, which means she was awake, which means she was reading, which means Gilead or the Box of Delights, or possibly the 43-page spiral-bound book that she told him about on Sunday, and which he asked to borrow.
Not yet. When it's time,
I finished it. The last sentence.
read it to me.
I did, and there is a pause. Then Bev says, and this is what Bev says. This is Bev's verdict, the verdict of 26 years and the door shelf and the intuitive geography and the knowing where everything is.
That's right, Gerald. That's the right ending.
I put the phone down and looked at the last sentence, at the 311 pages. Then I look out the window at the neighbor's wall, dark, the December dark of it. The particular wall he has been looking at from this desk for many years. The view that is not dramatic and is not significant, and which he knows so well that the knowing of it is its own kind of meaning. I close the manuscript. The lake is a 7 tonight, ice 1. First entry in the new category. Patient 7, first attempt. Bev's December shelf has 8 books on it. One of them is mine. 43 pages, 20 years ago, the start of something that took 20 years to finish. The fairy lights are on in the steady ground window. Nick said good year. He's right, it is. I finished the book tonight, the first draft of the history of the ordinary evenings. 311 pages. I told you I'd tell you the last sentence when I'd written it. The last sentence is, and the evening continued. And now in Snorewood, the lights are low, the streets are quiet, and the lake has gone still. Good night.